Hey now, say now, this is CLee for the people. I'm here with the great Stunnaman and the great Gunna goes global.
Don't forget the O2.
And this is our fucking podcast for the culture, and it's a great show because we talk about a lot of great shit from the perspective of black men who are the same but different. Damn, I think that's an intro, you dig?
Yeah.
And we got a lot to talk about today. You know what I'm saying? We got Steve behind the camera.
Shout out Steve.
You know what I'm saying? So look.
He went like this, so y'all.
First and foremost, before we get the show started, let's do introductions. How you doing?
Man, life is beautiful. I'm thriving. Mental health is good. Physically, emotionally, psychologically. Got my workout in. I'm trying to be cool like CLee.
Hey, I went to therapy Tuesday.
Oh.
Gunna, how's life?
I'm mobbing, man. A lot of stuff transpired yesterday in the neighborhood. You feel me, for the better, and I feel like I got a lot of weight off my shoulders, so I'm feeling.
Absolutely.
Got a different glow to you.
Yeah, man. I'm doing great. I'm blessed and highly favored. You know, even with everything going on, you know, black men still being killed by the police on camera.
Thanks.
Even with everything going on, I'm making sure my mental health is good so we can still fight the good fight, still have good conversations, still protect ourselves and our children. You dig? So I'm doing good. I'm doing good. But before we get to that, I want to talk about something that I've been very passionate about and I've been watching over and over and over all week. Joe Budden and Charlamagne the God. This conversation is important because we in that same industry and we strive to be at the level that they are and make the money that they are making. So, essentially, Joe Budden's deal with Spotify was up, and him and Spotify could not come to an agreement to renew the contract. Charlamagne made a point like, bro, if you can't negotiate a good contract with nobody, then maybe it's you. Maybe you're the problem if you can't negotiate a proper contract. And then Joe Budden's responded and said, viciously, essentially said, nigga, you're an employee. Dame Dash tried to tell you, but you will never understand what I do because you don't own anything. You've been at iHeart, you've been at Power 105 for 10 years, the #1 show, and you ain't seeing none of the splits because you don't put up any of the money. So you can't talk to me because I'm talking ownership and you are looking at you're basically speaking for oppression. And he was like, the reason why I'm okay with burning bridges, because that's what Joe Budden said, it's the reason why I'm okay with burning bridges because there's oppression on the bridge. Thanks. So I'm fighting a fight for all the black creatives, all the black podcasters going forward because this podcast business is essentially new. So let's not do what we did in music and start signing bad deals for a check and start, you know, making sure we can pass this content down and the money that this generates from generation to generation to generation. So before I say what I'm going to say, let's start with you, Gunna. What's your thoughts?
My thoughts on it is you have the boss, or you know, the leader or the owner, and then you have those who work. When you look at it, it's two perspectives. You can become extremely successful working for somebody. You can become extremely successful from ownership. So when you look at what Joe Budden talking about on some real shit, he's saying, hey, bro, this is not your place. This is not your space. You don't understand what I'm going through because I'm creating something top to bottom. That's how you get the Tyler Perrys in the world, you understand, to become billionaires. With Charlamagne the God, I'm really not sure his stance, but I know he's big on accountability. He's big on you got to learn from the mistakes that you make. But then it's more like, yeah, you right, but the mistakes that I'm making I shouldn't be penalized this severely. And that's what's going on with the music, the podcast, and everything. If right now I say, hey, Stunner, bro, I got $1 million for you, my nigga. I mean, I would say 99.9% of people in poverty are going to sign their life away.
Right.
And I'm going to go on and make $200 or $300 million off you. I know this. That's not right. Ignorance to the law is no excuse, but at some point in time, morals have to come in and say, you know what, Stunner, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to give you some equity and allow you to buy out, you know, shit in due time. I'm going to make money with you, not just rape you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what's your thoughts on this, Stunner, man? Because I got some questions I want to ask.
We seen something similar like this when Whack 100 was trying to discredit Nipsey Hussle's whole career. Whack 100 was so for being an employee and a manager of these big record label companies, while he was saying, oh, Nipsey never did this and that because that. But really, in the facts of it, Nipsey had ownership of a lot of stuff. And that's what we need to push for. I do a lot of things independently. I turn down a lot of stuff because it doesn't award me.
Is that the money train?
Is that the money?
That's
It's
the
the money
money
train.
The money train.
Hey, but basically the money train coming, so we feeling good, and that's perfect. What we talking about ownership. You know what I'm saying? When the money train comes, people want to just hop on certain opportunities because they think it's their money trains, not knowing you got to build these. You got to build that railroad in order to get to where you want to go. So I'm liking what Joe Budden was saying. Maybe he's a little aggressive, but he can be on lines a little bit. But you know, sometimes you got to get your point across like
Here's
that.
the thing, though, because in our culture, this is why this show is important, because we talk about things, but we have to put things in proper context and in perspective. Absolutely, ownership is important. Equity is important. But you have to understand, for one, you need to have leverage, and there's something that comes with equity and ownership, meaning you have to put up some money.
Facts.
You got to be able to put up something, or you got to be able to take something low on the front end so you can own more on the back end.
Exactly.
Meaning you got to be able to make certain sacrifices to be an owner. It really literally does cost to be the boss. You know what I'm saying? So if you're not trying to put up no money, if you're not trying to come with no leverage, you got to really come at things differently. You know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't even tell nobody to just go be no employee or sign no deal. What I'm saying is, to be a boss, it take money, it take time, it take leverage, it take an audience.
Right.
Because, and I'm saying that now too, because, and you know, I mention this every show as of lately. Everybody with the EDD, everybody with the SBA loan, everybody with this money, when you start investing this money, especially if you want to invest in black creatives, invest in media, these things take time to build.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's gonna take time. It take years. I'm somebody that's been building an audience for a long time. My audience still ain't where it needs to be.
Facts.
So things take time.
Right there with you.
It takes a lot of time. And if you're gonna come in, ask for some ownership, cool. What do you have to offer though?
Everything that you said is 110% right. But what it is people abuse that position, because it's nothing wrong with having a partnership.
Nothing at
There's
all.
a very successful, one of the most successful labels to ever be, ever exist in New Orleans. And one of the owners, because there's two owners, they're brothers. I ain't got to say their name or nothing like that, but that was his take. His take on it is, I'm the one taking all the risk, so the majority of the reward needs to go to me. Not
Absolutely.
because, and he's consistently said this, if it wasn't for me, you would die where you was at. So I need to be overcompensated for saving your life and exposing your talent, and me having the money to make you successful, or take the financial responsibility if you're unsuccessful, because none of this is a guarantee. So it's just a fine line, man, between who you do business with, because when you do business with a person who is an owner, you never walk. It's the difference between an owner and a shark. You feel me?
That's
when
true.
you do business with an owner, they usually tell you, like, listen, let's make it short. You're going to be compensated, and then after a while, because I want you to be somewhere by choice. This is what another successful label from New Orleans said in his 6-part documentary. That was Master P. He said, nah, if you don't want to be here, you can go. But some people aren't like that.
Absolutely.
They're like, you're going to be here indefinitely because I made money off of you, and if I can't make money off of you now, nobody can ever make money off
That's
of
some other type of shit. That's some other type of shit. I just think it's hell of important. Like, this is why I'm a huge fan of Joe Budden and his rant. He went on with Charlamagne the God, because he comes with leverage and he knows his value. You know what I'm saying? So it's important to understand your value. It's also important, don't overestimate your value, because you can be your ego fucking yourself out of a situation. So it's good to have a healthy balance and know your business. And at the same time, just don't take no money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, essentially what I'm saying is don't be broke. Because when you broke, you desperate. And when you desperate, you sign your life away.
Nipsey Hussle was saying that. He was like, I don't make any moves out of desperation, or I don't make any moves while I'm down, because you're gonna do something that you wouldn't normally do. Like, you're not gonna eat the same thing you would eat if you was hungry all the time. If you was hungry, you're gonna eat what's in your face. If you cool, you're like, all right, I'm gonna take this grilled chicken over this fried. I'm saying, oh wait, before you go, you got something in your hair real quick. You looking smooth on camera, a little lint. I gotta make sure you
get it right. Get it right
real quick.
Yeah, and which Trent segue into the music industry. We in a new industry with this podcast shit, right?
Yeah.
And business has to be right, because we're learning from history. History showed us, like, a lot of people got fucked over. A lot of people who got big records that we listen to now aren't getting paid from the records. I was just watching Versus, and Brandy couldn't even perform certain songs her biggest
crazy.
records because of contractual issues. That's fucking sickening.
Yeah.
Real.
Aaliyah's catalog is not online right now because of contracts and the people who own her estate. Prince is not on. Well, just now got on there.
That's fucking sick how some of our heroes, our idols, some of the greatest songs ever, we can't even listen to. They can't even get paid for because of, deals they sign it. Us, we are different people.
Facts.
Fuck all that. You know what I'm saying? We gonna have our affairs in order. We gonna have our affairs in order. So what I'm asking both of y'all, we can start with you, Stunnaman. What do we need to do differently than what they did in the 90s to make sure in this podcast game, this new game, that we are compensated for our content, our talent, our personalities? What we got to do?
Well, I'm doing it right now, so I'm going to tell you what I've been doing and what I think we should do, and that's prioritize learning the game before we play it. So, that comes into learning the business, making sure everything legal is right, and on top of that, we got to make sure we earning. We not only being on top of our stuff, but we investing in people that look like us. Like Steve, Fame Media, they doing the right thing because they looking at us and say, you know what, I rock with y'all heavy, so let me get locked in with y'all and make sure that we build together because I see what's happening in the long run. Steve could easily say, oh, yeah, let me have this person invest in me and do all of this stuff, and he could sell everything out and say whatever they want. But instead, he's taking he wants longevity. So one thing we got to understand, we got to see the light at the end of the tunnel from here and make the necessary
I'm gonna challenge
moves to
that.
get there.
I'm gonna challenge that.
Please do. Throw the challenge flag. You're going to lose a timeout.
But what if somebody's taking the risk on us?
Yeah.
What do we give to them?
We're going to give them not only the audience, but on top of that, we're going to give them the work. Now, we doing Steve, he's a genius and everything, but he already has a full table. He already has a full plate. He needs people to come talk. He needs people to bring up topics. And on top of that, he needs people to promote. That's what we're here to do. We're here to do the other side of what's happening.
It's called a team.
Yeah, exactly. A team. My producer makes the beats, an engineer, he records it, and then the artist, beyond that, he makes the music. And most of the time, the artist is also promoting the song, bringing people to the shows.
That's why
and
it gets
everything.
the biggest chunk.
Exactly.
So I feel like with us, it's about each one teach one. That's first and foremost. When you look at generational wealth, when you look at success, people are having conversations about business, financial literacy, and shit like that. And if you want to take it to the streets, because I'm assuming a lot of people that's going to be watching this come from the bottom. All right, bro, when you see any block, any hood getting money, man, they breaking bread together.
Facts.
They finding out ways, they finding out loopholes, they finding out ways to
Group
the bag.
economics.
And then they practicing group economics. So when it comes to the music, when it comes to the contracts, we didn't have access to the books and we didn't have the internet back in the 80s, the 90s, the 70s, the 60s, and we was in poverty.
Now
everybody know when you wanna take advantage of somebody, you go to places that are impoverished because you're also gonna assume that they're ill-informed.
Exactly.
When you fast forward to now, don't let desperation be your downfall. It's a very simple concept. You have to seek out a mentor, or you got to seek out knowledge. Before I ever picked up a microphone, I studied music. That's why even to this day, I own my catalog, and one day soon, that's going to be my biggest asset.
Facts.
All it takes is one successful podcast, one successful song, one successful piece of merch, and that's another thing. You got to be ambitious, you got to be hopeful, and you got to be in it for the long haul. You can't let instant gratification get to you because that's what's going on right now. Well, look at all these people. I got all the cars, I got all the money, but I'm in a slave contract. So but you also got to be willing to listen. You know for a fact, this goes across all color lines. Most people ain't willing to listen to nothing unless you put on a chain. You know what I mean? You pull up in a nice whip. Then you can financially take advantage of them, and they'll do it with a smile.
Exactly. A bum might have $1 billion knowledge for you, but you don't want to listen to him because he got on the wrong stuff.
Since we on that, let's bring it home to the Bay Area.
I like your segue.
I've seen too many artists just be hot. Yeah. And I want to ask this question. I've seen artists be hot, do a couple tours, open for some people, and give it 3 to 5 years, they're back to zero. Mm-hmm. Why is that? I have my thoughts, but why do artists get hot, get a big record, and end up being on dope?
I can tell you from experience.
Why?
MySpace, we kicked it off in MySpace. My generation, my era, we all went up. Back then, you couldn't monetize it. People are addicted to fame and attention and not money and wealth. So when you look at it, you're overwhelmed by the women. That's first and foremost, bro. All of a sudden, you got 3 or 4 bad ones, 10 bad ones all on you, offering you all of these sexual acts, and you busy. I mean, you get dizzy. You're not busy, you become dizzy. So why in the Bay is it that niggas is not monetizing their talent? Well, it's easy. Where's the industry?
Beats, always be talking about this.
We come from an out the trunk type of we come from an out the trunk culture. So back then, I don't care if you go to the city, the town, the rich, Vallejo, Master P, all E40, they all gonna tell you the same thing. They sold 10,000 out the trunk at $10 or $20 a wop, so they was getting it. But when the internet came in the millennium, how do you monetize that? You got dudes that don't know nothing about the business that's quote unquote getting hot. I remember we was getting 1,000 a show. But the promoters was having 400-500 people in there at anywhere from $10 to $30 a night. And it was at a point in time, anybody know their history, it was a point in time, this was back when sidekicks was booming. And I was like, man, we need to stick together because one day, a lot of y'all not gonna be around. We need to start really getting some dough because I was seeing what the promoters was getting. So in the Bay, it's more like a let's minimize the artists and give them tools and fuels. You go to Florida, you go to Georgia, you go to Tennessee, you go to New York, you go to Michigan, which is, Detroit is in Michigan. They like, you know what? Black people own this club. We finna pull in 80 bands tonight, including a bar. So we got 20 bands for you. You don't gotta leave Atlanta with a hot song to make your first $250,000. You don't have to leave. You don't even have to be on the radio. You don't have to leave Houston. When you look at Paul Wall, when you look at Slim Thug, black people own them facilities. They was packing them out, charging people. I was in there with my nigga from St. Louis. He said it's a regular to pay $100 to get in the club.
One of my favorite artists from Texas, his name is Club God. A lot of people,
$100.
A lot of people don't even know his name is Club God or Beat King. His name is Beat King.
Oh, yeah, he just went up.
He goes up. He's been famous in Texas for a decade, living in mansions and shit like that, living great in Texas. He travels down south, getting money, and he has been for so long. Yeah. We don't be having that here. Nah. We don't be having those local legends that's just being able to travel and do shows and just be million.
There's no black nightlife here until black people own clubs throughout the Bay Area, so that we can successfully tour. I tell you right now, how do you break this shit? We need 2 or 3 clubs in San Jose, 4 or 5 clubs in San Francisco, 6 or 7 clubs in Oakland, 2 or 3 clubs in Richmond, 2 or 3 clubs in Vallejo, 2 or 3 clubs in Fairfield, 2 or 3 clubs in Antioch, Pittsburgh area, 2 or 3 in Marin that are black owned where police are not hating. And then you can do a 10 club tour. And if you getting, let's just say, fuck it, let's go on the low end. You getting 5 bands. That's 50 bands in the next 2 or 3 weeks. And now you got the bus down, you got the chain, you got the merch. And guess who's looking at you now? People in the South, the Midwest, and New York. They want to see what shines. They want to see what glows because hip-hop culture, that's what this shit is about. So right now, it's, when the last time you seen the E40 show?
Mac Dre said you got to have the tools.
So Dre died in Kansas City because it wasn't no market for him out here to perform because no black people own the spaces.
Facts.
And out here, to the people that don't know, that you can even look this up. There's an entertainment committee and a lot of Bay Area artists. If you have any gang ties or if you draw a bad crowd or even if you have a shooting or incident at one of your shows, you get put on a list and you can't get booked. You can't host. You can't perform. That's over with.
And that's another form of oppressive racism.
So essentially, racism does affect our industry, but at the same time, more and more people are trying to rap. This is where it gets scary for me. Because, for one, some of our legends are broke. I know niggas who got some of the biggest songs in Bay Area history doing real-life verse licks, taking people money for verses and not even giving them the verses on some broke shit. I know legends doing shit like that. Furthermore, it's so many of these young men trying to rap, and so many are hot right now. You get afraid for their futures because being famous is kind of a high, or getting this money is kind of a high, but they don't understand that this comes to an end. And I've seen what happens when it comes to the end. I'm old enough to see how a motherfucker come up and then how it look when they start to go down. Jeez. You see the depression, some turn to drugs. You see the humiliation that come from the same people that used to praise them. It's a lot that come with this shit. And when you care for niggas, like when you care for just black men and women, you almost get afraid, like, bro, I don't know how this is going to end because here, this industry and
it's
how
ruthless.
This shit is so scandalous. It's like, bro, I don't know what's going to happen. So how do we save these people, Stunnaman, from hitting the ceiling and then just going up and just being the one and then just, it slowly starts to come to an end? How do we fix that, Stunnaman, as somebody that's in the game?
Man, we got to realize that everything we're doing is a roller coaster and people are living for the thrill, but at the same time, you got to be prepared for every turn. And within doing that, you got to make sure you prepare for it. You're going to have a wet season and you're going to have a dry season. You got to make sure you always prepare for either or. You know what I'm saying? That means when you're on your way up, you are like, that's why I rock with Gunna. People might ask, why you be with Gunna so much? Him, Tim Millie, CLee, they all a little bit older than me and they tell me stuff. So when it is my time to really go up, they've been telling me this for so long. Gunna be like, hey, watch out for these broads. They might try to get you. So when I get these 10 women around, I'm like, okay, not only did I already have this before, but they've been telling me about this, so now I know how to feel this. I don't need 10. I don't have 10. Excuse the profanity. I don't got 10 dicks. I need one female that I can rock with that's cool, or I need a female that I can mess with, that I can trust. And I'm like, hey, CLee, come party with us. You can come enjoy. Same thing as with the money. They say in order to be wealthy, you got to make a lot of people rich. Why not? When I start getting some dough, why not I see this little kid that's 12 years old calling me and saying, bro, I want to go to the studio with you. Why not I say, man, you got a dream? Here, go do this so you don't have to struggle like I struggled for so long. Now you done skipped 5 years. Why is Lil Baby one of the biggest rappers ever? Because somebody saw his talent and said, hey, man, I know you selling drugs right now. Here, go take this 100-piece.
Allegedly,
excuse me. I know you're doing some, excuse me, Lil Baby. I know you doing things that might not propel you to do what you want to do in the long run. So here goes some dough and stay in the studio. Man, that's what we need to be doing. That's what the big homies needed to be doing for people my age. That's what I'm finna be doing for people that's younger than me, because you got to see the longevity. Just like how we talked about earlier and creating these long-lasting things. Andre 3000 said 20 years ago, you're going to see what the South has to offer. You're going to see what Atlanta got. And that's because he already knew the type of connections they was making.
Let me break down how the internet is a gift and a curse.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because as somebody who's been building brands and building audiences, here's what I know. The internet can make you essentially lazy, because especially when you're in a place like the Bay Area, which is no industry like it. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. No. It's a different industry. In order to sustain the test of time, you have to grow and you have to gravitate out. On the internet, you might think you can just sit on the internet all day and grow your fan base, but you have to really get other places. You have to get to an Atlanta to build a fan base. You have to get to a Texas, start shaking hands, kissing babies, hitting these clubs, and you have to do this consistently. And these things might take time. You might have to go for a month or two, and you're going to have to have food, rent, expenses, all this shit. You might have to go to a Florida. You might have to get to a New York. You have to really tap in with these places and build fans. Essentially start all over, because a lot of these people don't know you. Some gonna know you, but you have to get there and build a brand. And now you got seeds planted in so many different places, and now you keep your seeds watered. Now, if one don't like you, the other may still love you. So you can't lose. You're always winning. You're putting yourself in win-win situations. So the Bay might be tired of your music, but Atlanta not. Atlanta might be tired of your music, but Miami not. Miami might be tired of your music, but New York just catching on.
And really,
so essentially what I'm saying
free
is
game.
Essentially what I'm saying is you got to get places, not just sit on the internet. They have to feel you, touch you, see you, and know that you're a real person, and then that changes everything.
Man, and also have a plan. Everything that you just said was really from a business aspect. When you look at the rap game and the music business, it's a huge difference. So that's another thing I think people don't know the difference.
Hold on, real quick. Let me say one last point. When T Grizzly first day out start really going up, y'all know how many shows he had in the Bay? Y'all know how much tapped in he was in the Bay? Shit, he just was here, and CLee's Kitchen was cooking for him last week at the Empire Studios. So essentially what I'm saying is, I don't know if T Grizzly planned this, but T Grizzly had his ass in the Bay a lot, which is smart, because we really fuck with the Detroit culture. A lot of
artists do that.
So he was here a lot for shows and just tapping in at parties and all this shit. Like, damn, this nigga's here a lot. But then when you look at it, like,
he was planting his seeds.
You know, he was planting good seeds, and now the Bay fucks with T Grizzly. Every time he come now, sold out. He's a guaranteed hit every time.
Exactly.
Off top. I agree with everything you just said.
You feel me?
Again, you talking about the music business and then the rap game, and many times people don't know the difference.
What's the difference?
Well, the rap game is something that is not sustainable. Rap is a high turnover rate. The rap game is everything that you've been talking about. Is hot now, and then next year it's old. The music business is when you look at your catalog being exercised, when you look at your fan base being expanded, when you look at your merch being sold. All of these things are the music aspect, and all you got to do is go to different genres or bigger artists to understand what a person is talking about. It's a reason why country artists can sell out from 20, 30 years ago. It's a reason why you look at Versus and you see those people were in the music business, and they handled their business. There's a reason why when you look at a Kanye West, it's not the rap game, it's the music business. And many of us, the overwhelming majority, are simply rappers. You understand what I'm saying? So that's like, what's the difference between the NBA and a pickup ball? Well, the NBA is a business, bro. And you've got CEOs involved. You've got people with a vision involved. Most rappers, when this shit jump off, my nigga, you're overwhelmed. In the Bay Area, you can be lit and you won't even know you lit, because in the Bay, even if you was God, if Jesus was to walk down the street right now, they're like, oh, look at Jesus. It's just the Bay.
This nigga got on sandals.
Oh, look at Jesus. This nigga got on sandals and look at his clothes.
This nigga got locks. This nigga locks look dirty.
So in the Bay, you got to know your worth. Shout out to 24K. Gold, the younger who went platinum from San Francisco. You got to have a team, and you got to be ready to not be liked in the Bay Area. Look at G-Eazy. Look at many people who are successful.
That's deep.
Our biggest records coming out of the Bay. The Bay didn't catch on to it till afterwards.
My last tidbit is if you're an artist and you got SoundCloud or Apple Music, whatever you got, TuneCore, go look at your analytics, see what cities is fucking with you the heaviest, and go there.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Look at it might be Sacramento, whatever cities is fucking with you.
Shout
Look
out
at your top 10 cities. Go there, set up a pop-up shop, have your merch, give out some pizzas or whatever you got. Make sure they fed. Take care of your people. Go fuck with your people, and you keep doing that consistently. Go fuck with your people, and then your people gonna start fucking with you. In any business, it's an exchange of goods and services. So you have to give if you want to receive. And this motherfucker in the Bay, I love y'all to death, but I'm from here. I know people here. We can be a little selfish.
Definitely.
Extremely.
We can be a little selfish and arrogant and not knowing we putting ourselves out of business.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? We putting ourselves out of business, so we got to work on that as we move forward. Any last thoughts, Stunnaman?
Man, y'all just said, I was just going to say the Bay is a bubble. We got to realize that. And like you said, it's a blessing and a curse. We don't let a lot of negative things get into us, like racism and a whole bunch of other bullshit, even though we are affected by it. But also, a lot of stuff doesn't get out, and we do need some things to get in.
Absolutely. Speaking of negative, we got to touch on this. In New York, I just seen a video where the cops handcuffed a man and, covered his head, and he died. Another unarmed black man killed by the police. I have to say this because a meme been floating around like it's not healthy for black people to keep seeing black people killed by police online. People sharing these videos. Gunna, what's your thoughts on that before we get into the actual, situation?
It's trauma porn. And psychologically, what it does is it puts fear in you. I don't watch it. All I got to do is read the titles. I might go to the beginning or end. I don't watch videos of black people being killed because it also it does something to you. Back in the day, they used to hang us and let our bodies be there, for weeks at a time so that other enslaved Africans can see it and know not to rebel. So what they're doing is waging psychological warfare against the black population so that the mothers can be frightened and say, I got to protect my son, and so that the fathers can be like, I got to protect my son, instead of arming your sons, protecting your sons, informing your sons, and understanding at some point in time, if the government in the United States of America does not change, it is going to be violence. We are not going to lose. We are not a losing people. Do not let them tell you they got technologies, they got tanks. Understand, we from the United States too. So if America is a warring country, remember, we are citizens. We want peace, but you're not going to continue to do this and just think that black people are going to continue to turn the other cheek. Don't watch the shit. Read the titles. Be informed. Get enlightened. Find a way to be a part of it, but don't look at these images and be discouraged. Don't be depressed. All of that shit is to keep you down. Fuck these police. Fuck them. They bleed like us, and that's what it is. God created us under this sun. They are not anything more than what we are. You feel me?
Absolutely. So absolutely. I want to say this to black people. I ain't going to say don't call the police, but man, let that be your absolute last resort. Like, let's stop just, man, you have to, and this is why it's so important to know history. If somebody historically has never had your best interest from their inception, it was never had your best interest, and you seeing nothing has changed, you're going to have to figure out a way to police yourself. You're going to have to figure out a way to deal with issues yourself. You're going to have to figure out a way. We need military practice. I ain't going to say what we need because I'm tired of saying what we need to do. practice military tactics, meaning when you move and when you walk outside, you know how you moving. You know how to, when you deal with these people, you protect it if somebody try to play with you, you know what I'm saying? If you really, especially if you're in an open carry state, make sure you good. Like, it's time to start practicing military type tactics, studying how militaries move and operating as such. You know
let your cousin be crazy. Let your brother or cousin or sister or auntie be crazy. You know that he was out there naked, so he was having a mental episode. You know, a person may be high. They going to come down. When you get to calling the police and shit, understand the majority of the time when they coming to hurt. Whether it be killing you, beating you up, overcharging you, whatever. They not coming to help us, man.
Yeah, you got to be very, very careful. Any last thoughts, Stunnaman, before we move on?
Yeah, just to go off what he was saying, this is not all police, but you got to realize that
Fuck them, blood. They don't say that about us, bro. All that, it's not all police. Where the good police then? Where are the good police when this shit is happening, blood?
I agree with you 1,000%.
Hear that shit about not all. Fuck all police that's watching this. And fuck your family too if they feel some type of way about what I'm saying. Me individually saying this.
It's some individuals who you be like, okay, this is a cool person, but it's the system and it's what they signing up for, which I personally disagree with.
Is there good people in the Ku Klux Klan? Was there good people in Nazi Germany? Was there good people who own slaves? People got to stop making excuses for this motherfucking system. This system is not broke. It's working the way it needs to work. I don't care if you black, orange, green, or brown. Once you put on that badge and that blue live shit, you are not here to help black people. You are not entering the community to help Jerome and Antoine. You are going in there to lock them up, fuck up generational wealth. You're here to oppress them. You're talking about you want to take drugs out of the community, but you ain't shut down one liquor store. You talking about black on black crime, but you ain't helped raise no minimum wages. You ain't helped get no money in the community because we all know for a fact that poverty is directly associated with violence.
You just said something we got to unpack because I'm seeing a lot of people run with this narrative. And it's upsetting because I don't know why do people of color keep repeating this narrative? Can somebody
Waka
educate
Flocka
me?
just did it. Well,
they ignorant. They don't mean that. You got to understand, many of these people minds is enslaved. They just now finding out they black. They just now finding out they human. They just now finding out that they got a brain. So what do you do when you first start learning? You ever been around a baby that's 1 or 2 or 3? They will say anything. Exactly. So you can't even take these people serious because they just found out that it's a brain. They gonna say stupid shit and they do it all the time. What about we can't stop? If we don't stop killing, there's no prerequisite for humanity. You're not gonna say that because Dr. King didn't kill nobody. Why was he assassinated? When our people was doing the civil rights, it wasn't no black on black violence then, but we was still getting hung off trees and killed. When we was on the continent of Africa, what do we do to validate them coming and abducting us? And to those who say, Gunna. Yeah, for real, for those who say, oh, blacks sold blacks, you can't pay me to buy a person right now. So in order for you to buy somebody, that means that somebody has to be selling them. Who are you to buy a human? All of this shit is wickedness, bro.
I'm going to say this. I disagree with one of your points. I don't think they don't have a brain. I think these people are highly intelligent. I think people are afraid of white people.
Oh, yeah. Y'all be pandering. Y'all is some ass kissers. Y'all some bootleggers. Let's focus on the black problems.
And this goes back to the Joe Budden conversation. And this is what it mean to me. We are so used to mistreatment, we've almost accepted it. Exactly. We're so used to being treated like second-class citizens. It's like, let's accept being here. Why are you trying to fuck this up? Let's accept being here. So when other people say, fuck no. I'm not finna do that. I'm not finna take accountability for no fucking Chicago. Love Chicago, but like I said, everybody's not responsible for, the small demographic of people who do that shit. When they try to say in Chicago, they killing each other.
And that's isolated.
And then why white people? Okay, is every white person
that's isolated?
Is every white person a school shooter?
Man,
is every white person a bomber?
And that's exactly where I was going with it.
Is every white person a racist?
It seems like generalizations
technically
are only okay
for black men.
When it comes to black men.
That's it.
Black people, black men.
Because when you start
black men, not black women.
And here's the fucked up part: when you give somebody a logical response to the "what about black on black crime" thing, they just don't acknowledge it. Or do all white people have incest, have sex with their sisters and brothers? Or all white people on men?
Let's debunk
you know what I'm saying?
Like, for all of those out there, okay, let's just assume y'all ill-informed, or like he said, you guys are geniuses or whatever. For those who don't understand, when DeAndre kills Jerome or Antoine, there is retaliation. What we're talking about when it comes to defunding the police is saying, okay, if you guys cannot adequately deal with black people, then we need to create some type of public service that can be called when black people violate or are being accused of violating a law or whatever, that does not lead to them being killed.
Exactly.
When you talk about black on black crime, understand this, black people. Latino people kill Latinos, Asians kill Asians, white kill whites.
It's called proximity.
Yeah, and this is a fact. And then let's even go a little bit deeper and take it a little bit more personal. White men beat on white women. Okay, black men beat on black women. Black men beat on black women. Latino men beat on Latino women. So these are things that are not exclusive to color. You got to understand, like this brother said, is proximity. So stop talking about black on black crime as if somebody gets killed in New York or San Francisco or LA, that means that I don't respect myself as a human being. No, they're in the streets doing shit. Look at the white people. When they go to war, they don't say, oh yeah, we had a civil war and hundreds of thousands of us killed, so we don't value our humanity. Shut up.
Speaking of, let's celebrate a black man. Rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman.
Man.
Rest in peace to that black man.
Get on Up is a good ass movie.
You know,
Wakanda Forever, and I mean that in like a real spiritual, deep, resonating way.
You feel me? That shit, like, again, we are losing very impactful people to the culture. And I'm saying that even though he just was an actor, but
let's not minimize it. He was a great actor.
A great actor.
He started as a director.
Right. I don't want to minimize it.
He started as a director that transitioned to an actor.
You feel me? Like he was a hero to a lot of black children. You know what I'm saying? His face, it's children right now that aspire to be an actor, that aspire to be him, because seeing him on that Black Panther, one of the highest grossing movies ever. Shout out to Mozzie, because his song was in that movie too. Shout out to Mozzie out of SAC. That was fucking
Shout out to SOB too, RBE.
Yeah, they was on the soundtrack, so that was dope. That was definitely dope. And he passed from cancer, and a lot of people are sharing like his team was so solid for 4 years. They never leaked that he had cancer. He was gearing up with cancer to shoot the Black Panther film soon.
Sequel,
number 2.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Got to go from Disney.
So just, what's your thoughts on that before I speak?
Man, that
10 years ago,
sickening.
I want to go into the colon cancer and be more specific. Black men specifically. Health is wealth. So when you're looking at your diet and the things that you're consuming, when you're eating these red meats, the porks, the fast food, y'all may not want to hear it, but a lot of that toxicity, or I believe that's a term, is remaining in your body. And it has to be flushed. And really, you want to change it out. You want to clean it out. And you want to stay on top of our health. It's not taboo in our neighborhood, in our community. It's really just something that's not even talked about at all, because for so long, our life hasn't really been valued. So when we were enslaved, it wasn't no going to the doctor. I'm talking about specifically in the U.S.
We was getting the bottom of the barrel.
You feel me? And then after that, we were still, we got to take advantage and beat cancer to the punch. We got to beat these diseases to the punch.
Exactly.
And that means if you got to go get a colon cleanse, man, put your ego to the side. Put your ego to the side, change your diet so that you can see that 60, 70, 80 years of life. Because when I think of that man dying on top of the world, it kind of reminds me of Stephen Jobs reading his book, because he had signs of cancer early on, and by the time he caught on to it, it was too late. And they was asking him, as a billionaire, as the founder of Apple, he was saying that none of the money equated to the time that he wanted on Earth. Got to read it. It's one of the most profound books I ever read, because he changed the world. But on his dying bed, like during his last 2 weeks or whatever, he was just like, I just need time. He tried to go the holistic route. You got to go to the doctor, get that checkup. That's what we got to do. See the dentist, because your teeth and your body go hand in hand. Yeah. Get them braces, get them implants, get them root canals, whatever it is, and back to our bodies. Being overweight, I got a baller belly. No, nigga, you're finna have a heart attack.
Exactly.
You're finna die. Man. It's not a baller belly. You're unhealthy.
Change that diet.
Yeah, you finna pass out of a stroke. Nigga, you're not, that's not cool.
So, since we own it, let's just talk about, holding ourselves accountable within our community. You touched on something. Our health. We got to stop celebrating stupid shit. You know what I'm saying?
Go deeper.
Meaning the baller belly thing. He's right. Yeah. And Stunnaman, you inspire me because you work out adamantly. You're serious. And then you don't even eat meat all like that. You know what I'm saying? You don't fuck around. So essentially, we need to start holding ourselves accountable and stop celebrating dumbass shit.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? I know we like the Mastros. I do the Mortons. You feel me?
The Roof Chris, but
the Mortons, the Roof. We like that shit, but understanding we playing
moderation, blood.
Yeah, we paying $300-$400 for poison. And it's cool, like you said, in moderation, but we gotta stop celebrating.
Can we drink
dumb
water?
ass shit.
A lot of water.
Can we eat fruits and vegetables?
You
Can
know
we
what I
balance it out? Can we understand that you
So,
are what you eat?
The same way we show the Moet bottles, let's show the water too.
I'm gonna start doing that.
The
I'm gonna really
alkaline
start
water.
doing that.
Let's start stunning the alkaline water.
I
And
put the
I
whole
say this, hold
film on the alkaline water
You feel me?
9.5.
Let me.
Shout out
I'm
to
saying this because our
Gunna is
children are
actual
watching this.
Garifuna.
Our children are watching this. So
Facts.
the same way we seen people do it, the same way we seen Jay-Z and all the Armadale and all of that, we don't even know subconsciously we're replicating that. And our
Exactly.
children gonna replicate that. So if we show health like a motherfucker, our kids gonna replicate that. I'm sure your kids are healthy as a motherfucker because they looking at their pops and his healthy lifestyle choice. I'm sure
You
the
got
people
some
that look up to you are gonna be wanting to work out like a motherfucker
Hell
because they
yeah.
seen Stunnaman work out. So essentially, we need to start holding ourselves accountable to the images we promote to our children. Now, it can be balanced. We ain't got to be holier than thou, no, because we ain't got to be that. But we got to be responsible for what we show these children. Health being a big one.
Can we go deeper?
Go
Yeah,
deeper.
let's go
Okay,
deeper.
we're overweight right now in the black community because we have the same diets that our ancestors had. It's not hereditary. Our ancestors had a short expectancy of living on the plantations. They were being fueled to work sun up to sundown. They weren't being fueled to live a long time. So that same
40-year
fried,
lifespan,
you know,
less than that.
the hog mogs, the chitlins, the macaroni and cheese, the fried chicken, all of that shit was cool, but you got to understand you was dying at 40 or 50. It's not hereditary. You got to change your diet, and you got to
Exactly.
eat things in moderation. My father, he always says, who lives the longest on earth? I said the Asians. He said, look at their diet. He said they eat
Tea.
for energy. You understand? That is pivotal. Stop. When you tired after you eat, it's because you got the itis. It's because it's to the point to where your body can't break the shit down. So it's like, I got to go into hibernation. Eat smaller portions and look at the stuff that you eating, blood. It's a real simple concept. All the I'm drinking soda is death.
Man,
You're
why we
drinking
got
death.
That's why we got O2 juice. Feel me? The healthy alternative to soda.
Nah, shameless plug.
man.
Shameless plug.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I think we got to re-examine what I call the 5 doctors
Shameless.
of life. You know what I'm saying? That's sunlight, H2O, diet, exercise, and of course, one of the most important, sleep. That team no sleep. I love Kevin Gates, but I don't get tired. You feel me? That's something we got to re-examine. Killer Mike does a beautiful thing of explaining it in his episode Trigger Warning, or his series Trigger Warning, and it's talking about the Bible of sleep, or the Bible of Sleepy, and he talks about how sleep is a real superpower. I promise you. Go stay up as long as you can and try to function in the day, and then go get 6 to 8 hours of sleep. I promise you're going to feel like you're on steroids. You're going to be on hypey shit looking like me all over shit.
3 to 5.
Man, he said 3 to 5. Now, 5 hours of sleep, bro, I'll really be busting moves, bro.
6 to 8, I feel like I'm in a coma when I wake
Yeah,
up.
but it does. You got to rejuvenate sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Outside all of this, I don't know why this just came to my head. I want some money, y'all.
Hey, me too, bro.
Yeah.
I want some money, y'all.
If you
Like,
got drop away, we
I'ma
can get
keep
some
it
money in the
real.
comments.
hey, if you watching this, donate to my Cash App at the
Facts.
CLee brand. I'm just saying that because I'm so inspired seeing people with money, and we talk about this all the time, so we don't need to get into it.
No details.
When I see black people with money, I
freedom.
genuinely get inspired, and it ain't even got to be hella money. 300,000, 400,000. I love seeing black people with money. It inspires me because money gives you a freedom. This is coming from a nigga that just stopped working a regular job not too long ago. Money gives you a freedom and a power that's invaluable. And I want more black people to experience that so you can know the racism, the micromanaging, the little ass paychecks, them long ass commutes. That's not normal.
You don't
It's
have
unhealthy.
to deal with that shit.
That shit is unhealthy. Now, we do need employees.
Right.
We do need employees, but you should be able to go to work with peace and not be miserable and stressed out and underpaid. That's why, and that money gives you such a fucking freedom that I want people to understand. And I want to, understand further because I'm still not balling and, comfortable living. Having a nice, comfortable bed to sleep on changes your whole life.
Man.
Having a good, comfortable couch to sit on changes everything.
Man.
Well, the Bay Area is a very peculiar place
Yeah,
to ever experience what you just talked about because you got homes going for $1 million
Exactly.
opposed to, when you go around, I mean, even
To
if you go to
Houston,
LA,
Atlanta.
and when you go to the South, like even in Sacramento, you can afford a home. When you come to the Bay and people be like, buy our blocks back or buy up the hood, it's like,
It's not a
bro,
reality.
first of all, we come from public housing or Victorians or homes that are no longer affordable. In the town, you got to understand when crack hit, it did what it did. But as far as us getting money as a people, yeah, I mean, we got to break bread with each other. Each one teach one and know the difference between somebody who wants to build and somebody that wants to divide or break. You feel me? We can do it. And
So let's talk about this real quick before we close the show out. A lot of people are getting money. What are some good things to invest in right now for all the people
Vending machines.
Vending stocks.
What
Stocks is
stocks? I know
booming.
they just split Amazon and they just split.
So somebody just
Tesla.
told me this. Basically, if this is not insider trading, but something you should be on. Basically, Apple has to pay a company $440 million in the next 20 days because Apple was replicating one of their products or something that they had and have been doing it for so long, and they just finally got the lawsuit. So right now, you need to figure out what small company that is and go find them shares. The shares are $5. My partner who does stocks just put me on with that. Look up the article. It's public information. Just look up who Apple has to pay money to. Beyond that, we need to find a way to get into real estate. Not only real estate is power. Why is McDonald's such a profitable business?
Real estate.
Because look, Burger King, everywhere McDonald's go, Burger King sets up one across the street. But McDonald's is smart because they own the building across the street. So basically, Burger King got to pay McDonald's to get some money with them. So they winning in all ways. McDonald's is one of the biggest real estate agencies in the world. Real estate companies in the world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So what about more tangible things? I would say restaurants. I would say merch. I would say things that we need within
Anything
the
that can make
community. Invest in. So people, you hear that word and they get discouraged and they don't understand. Listen, if you make some of the best omelets on earth, why don't you do a taster? Have 10 people taste your omelets and then do some pop-ups. After you do the pop-ups, get a restaurant. Whatever it is that you do, invest in that situation. We all need cars. We all need clothes. Electronics is going to be booming for the next 100 or 200 years. So just find something and then use YouTube.
I don't know one black car manufacturer. Like you have Toyota and Lexus, that's Japanese. You have Volkswagen and BMW, Benz, German. I don't know any African or black, so you feel me? That could be the next big thing.
Well, time out. Let's stop there. Black people actually invented the car.
I definitely agree with that.
That was definitely a stolen. You know what I'm saying? So that has a lot.
That can be our thing, though. That can be our next thing.
What I believe, everything is going mobile now.
Ooh.
So I would tell a lot of black people you can invest in the vehicles to rent out to people so they can have mobile services.
Yeah.
You can lease those vehicles to other people. You know what I'm saying? So they can have mobile services.
I saw a dude by the lake, emergency cuts.
Like we was talking about health, a mobile smoothie service would be great.
Mobile beauty
barbershops, would be great. Another thing is black content creators. Media is important, especially with people in the house, kids going to school in Zoom. Ooh. Entertainment is big, so invest in black creators that can get, and it don't take much. Go get you a camera, go invest in a good camera, a good microphone, and come up with a good content idea, and you can start there.
Big vlog.
You know what I'm saying?
It's that big vlog shit.
And you can just pump out content. Other things you can invest, like you said, merch and shit like that.
Hella shit.
Understand? There's a lot more black shoe creators popping up, creating their own shoes. You know what I'm saying?
We all need shoes.
We definitely need shoes.
That's another good one. And then
the beauty industry, billions of dollars.
Oh yeah, definitely the beauty industry.
Shout out to all you black women out there doing your thing. Yeah. I want to see y'all control the industry. I want to see y'all own the industry because y'all already influence the industry.
Man,
absolutely. Like I said, man. Just everything mobile. Take everything mobile and just be first to the punch. Like we was doing Uber in the hood before Uber. Motherfucker was
definitely.
Gas
my mom
paid
for
and
sure
rides,
used to be
you know
like,
what I'm saying, and doing all that type of shit.
My mom used to pull up to the bus stop and be like, "You need a ride?"
Everybody,
okay.
everybody
$10.
that's from the hood, they got some money. Everybody from the hood, look at your neighborhood. Look at how y'all exchanging things and seeing how you can turn that legal, because that's what they do. They study us, see what we doing, and then they monetize it. So do that. Whatever's going on in your neighborhood, do that. You know what I'm saying?
Need.
A bingo hall. Start up a bingo hall. Go get you a 501c3. Black people, we play bingo like a motherfucker. Get you a 501c3. That's the nonprofit thing. Start your own bingo hall, and you can just tear their ass off. Bingo halls is making billions. You know what I'm saying? So all I'm saying is look at what from your little cousins to your little brothers to your grandma to your grandpa. See what they doing. See what they got going on. Invest in the shit. Make your own cigarette. Do whatever you got to do. But let's start, monetizing everything. And use the money we got, and let's just build. I'm C-Legal for the people. This was a great show. I'm out. Peace and love. We'll be back next time. This was a great episode. How y'all feel about it?
Man, I feel amazing.
I am Gunna Goes Global, and my name is manifesting in the physical form.
Oh, I'm Stunnaman02, and I'm beautiful, and so that's how I feel.
For the culture.
There we go. All right. It's a wrap. Peace and love. Y'all have a good one. We out.